Welcome to Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, with your host, Steve Garrett, lifetime member of the National Corvette Museum, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 45 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them at 833-840-5334. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. And be sure to visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join our Corvette Today Facebook group there as well. Also, make sure you sign up for the Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at CorvetteToday.ck.page. And if you like YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube as well. And be sure to patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, MidEngineCorvetteForum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at MidEngineCorvetteForum.com. Soul Performance Products. Developed and manufactured in the United States, the Soul Performance Products exhaust portfolio has been tailored to elevate the experience of the world's most exciting sports cars, including the latest generation of the Corvette. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Aerolar Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit Aerolarri.com. That's AEROLARRI.com. And use the promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. Ciocca Corvettes. If you're a Corvette enthusiast, and I know you are since you're listening and watching Corvette Today, then you need to know about Ciocca Corvette. They're based in Atlantic City, where you can find over 100 new and pre-owned vets on the lot and inbound. Ciocca also ships Corvettes all over the country, custom ordered to your specifications. They're staffed with experienced pros who can answer all your questions. So don't compromise. Visit CioccaCorvette.com. That's CIOCCA Corvette.com and find out more. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. E5 Wheels. E5 Wheels is a passionate and dedicated wheel company that serves only Corvette. They make spun-forged wheels for your C8, C7, and C6 Corvette. With the best fitment in the industry, E5 Wheels ensures your wheels complement the aesthetics and functionality while optimizing the performance of your Corvette. Visit e5wheels.com or call them at 305-964-7429. And a shout out to Canadian Corvette Forum and Corvette Forum, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. You know, so many times you hear people in business say, "Have you got a 5-year plan?" Well, at the National Corvette Museum, they get that same question. Here back on Corvette Today to talk about that 5-year plan for the National Corvette Museum and take a look at the future is the Director of Marketing for the NCM, Ryan Eichler. Ryan, welcome back to Corvette Today, buddy.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me on again. And absolutely exciting topic as we think ahead.
Absolutely right. I'm looking forward to this because I want to know what's coming down the pike in 5 years for the museum. First off, Ryan, talk to me about how the museum is thinking about the future.
Well, the future for us is so important. Several years back, the board gathered with the key leadership team here at the National Corvette Museum and mapped out our road to 2028. Now, this is a 5-year strategic plan that encompasses several different elements of the museum, but really gives us that roadmap to get to 2028 and hit the marks that we need to make sure that we're delivering everything from a existing guest and member standpoint, but also growing the museum, much like Chevrolet is doing with the popularity of the CTA Corvette.
Gotcha. Now, walk me through the 2028 strategic plan then.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really is housed around 6 key pillars. The first one is the advancement of the American Alliance of Museums accreditation. You've probably heard us mention this before, and in shortening, this is AAM accreditation. And really, this allows us to be on the same playing field as other museums like the Henry Ford, the Auburn Core Duesenberg Museum, or the Studebaker Museum.
Got it.
Those are actually the only AAM accredited car museums in the U.S. So that's pillar number one. The second is becoming a cherished community asset. We know how important Corvette and the National Corvette Museum is to Bowling Green and the surrounding area. So how do we make sure that we really push that forward and work with the community to let them know that the National Corvette Museum, we're a big part of the success of this part of Kentucky.
Yeah.
The next one would be continued growth of diverse earned and contributed revenue streams. Certainly want to make sure that we have a financially healthy museum so that we can continue to push forward with that really important mission that we have and really put education around the Corvette front and center. And you can't do that without growth of diverse earned and contributed revenue streams. The next one, the one that excites me the most, is acquisition of new and younger generation of Corvette enthusiasts. You know, to future-proof the museum, we need to make sure that we're bringing in new automotive and Corvette fans, telling them the history of the Corvette, but telling them it on their terms. The fifth point is intentional collections growth, making sure that we have a kind of dream list of Corvettes to round out the collection and thinking about what future exhibits could look like to make sure that we have the right Corvettes to be able to bring those to life. And then the last one is, and for all the folks that have been to the National Corvette Museum, it's master campus growth, right? We know that this space and the museum itself really sits on this collective Corvette campus, and how do we make sure that we grow that campus to not only protect us from what could be other businesses that may want to try to take advantage of where the museum is, but also making sure that we're future-proofing and thinking ahead to any potential larger grounds for more events or something like that. So those are really those 6 pillars for this 5-year strategic plan for growth.
That's really cool. And it sounds really, really good. The accreditation thing, I get it totally. How do you develop a plan like that?
Well, the accreditation from the American Alliance of Museums, well, it is not the easiest for us to accomplish because it requires so much. And when I say so much, this is everything around making sure that we've outlined and have the highest professional standards within the museum, ethical practices, ongoing improvement in operations and services, but even all the way to the point of how we're maintaining the collection. So AMA accreditation ends up being a little bit of a checklist that you go through that auditors come in and kind of map against your progress there. So while it is probably the largest task for us, it is one that has some very clear KPIs that we need to meet.
Yeah.
And that's something that's in progress for us, even as I speak today.
How do you measure a plan like that when you put it together?
Well, there's a variety of KPIs, so key performance indicators, that we have put against each of these pillars. Now, some are going to be a little bit more defined than others. When you think of becoming a cherished community asset, what we're always looking at is how many places and spaces is the museum showing up in the region and in the area. And that's everything from large events that Bowling Green may have, where we'll show up with one of our fleet cars and talk about our education mission, all the way down to making sure that we're extending those olive branches into the community and supporting other educational entities and other elements. So that becomes more of a tactical approach where we can actually go back and measure. We went to this many events in 2023. We've been able to grow it into 2024. Where do we go for 2025? So that becomes more of a metric-based one. When you look at acquisition of newer, younger generation of Corvette enthusiasts, that's going to be a longer tail. That's going to be a longer plan for us because I'm able to measure that. And that's one that I get really excited when we think about what we're doing from a digital and a social media perspective. But then I have to go and compare that with actual gate admissions and who we're seeing coming through the museum. So again, there's a fair amount of metrics and data that comes into this as we kind of set the KPIs. Some of them are a little bit more clear, like we have with the American Alliance of Museum accreditation. Others become more set by us in terms of, you know, even when you think about continued master campus growth, we certainly have a set footprint right now, but what does it look like as that continues to expand and grow? And there's other things that determine that, right? Other businesses around us, what they're doing, where the opportunity lies.
Man, buddy, that sounds really aggressive. I like the plan. If anybody can pull it off, it's you leading the charge.
We hope. But, you know, again, it's just so important to think ahead. We're working with Corvettes. They're moving fast. The pace is quick. And
Yeah.
sometimes with that quick pace, it can be easy to not pause and think about what something's going to look like in 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. So the plan is so helpful for us too, because it allows us to really be kind of a litmus test for anything we're doing in the museum or any decision that we're making. Is it tying back to this 5-year plan for strategic growth?
Very cool. I like it. Buddy, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the 5-year plan for the National Corvette Museum with Ryan Eichler, the Director of Marketing at the NCM, here on Corvette Today.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft's PVD chrome finish in bright chrome or black chrome will take your Corvette to new levels. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. Durability is a defining feature of the Wheelcraft finish. Their PVD chrome is superior to traditional chrome, with a finish that is brake dust resistant and cleans effortlessly with soap and water. Wheelcraft offers factory wheel exchange for select C4 through C8 models, or they can apply the PVD finish to your current wheels. No matter what generation you own, Wheelcraft will transform the look of your Corvette. With every Corvette comes a unique story, and Wheelcraft has embraced this idea. When you purchase your new set of wheels, you receive a lifetime membership to the Wheelcraft Pit Crew, granting you access to your own page on Wheelcraft's website, where you can post pictures and tell your Corvette story. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call 833-639-4231. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The National Corvette Restored Society is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. 50 years of affirming and promoting the preservation and restoration of the Corvette. 50 years as the foremost Corvette collector car organization for building value with its prestigious awards. Have you ever considered joining NCRS? Over 70,000 people have. We're so much more than just the nuts and bolts. The NCRS flight judging program can and often does increase the value of America's sports car by researching and publishing the leading tech manuals and judging guides for the 1953 through 2007 Corvettes, by training the best judges, and by hosting local, regional, and national judging events. And when you join, you'll get award-winning magazines like Corvette Restore and Driveline all throughout the year. Joining is simple and easy. Just go to ncrs.org and sign up. There are NCRS chapters all throughout the U.S. and all around the world. Chances are there's a local chapter near you. So join NCRS today at ncrs.org. We come for the Corvettes. We stay for the friendships made along the way.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
For the best in CB Stingray Z06 and E-Ray aftermarket carbon fiber replacement components and body kits, check out RacingSportConcepts.com or call 1-800-815-3751. Tell them Steve sent you to save 10% with coupon code Corvette Today.
And now, back to Corvette Today with your host and my husband, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best? Well, dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty too. So visit wheelcraft.com today or just give them a call. 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is my buddy Ryan Eichler, the Director of Marketing for the National Corvette Museum. We are talking about the 5-year plan looking out to 2028. Ryan, let's talk more about one of the strategic pillars, growing the younger audience, because I think that's really, really important. How do you do that as the National Corvette Museum?
Yeah, Steve. So certainly one area that really excites me, and that's that acquisition of new and younger generation of Corvette enthusiasts. It excites me for a couple reasons. Number one, well, this is quite a daunting task for any brand or organization in 2024. When you have the power of Corvette behind you, it can be a little easier. And I look right now at a lot of the work that we're doing on our digital and social channels. I encourage all your listeners, make sure you're following the National Corvette Museum on X, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. So we are active on all those channels. we've identified a very robust content strategy that, probably no surprise to your listeners, it puts the Corvette first. People want to see the Corvettes. They want to learn the stories of Corvette, whether you're indoctrinated into the Corvette world or not. So that content plan and making sure that we're really making the car the star and what we're doing at the museum the star has resulted in a 5% audience growth across all those channels every month, nearly for the last year. So we're starting to get to a point with a lot of our social channels where we're getting large enough that we're starting to actually reach new people. We had a very simple example here. We did a quick Instagram reel. Reels are extremely popular right now. You know, this is short form video content. Disappears fairly quickly from Instagram. We did one that highlighted all of the Corvette logos. It was emblems of all the Corvettes in the collection, all the various generations. This was really one of the first viral pieces of content that the museum created. As I looked at the data, we reached 130,000 people on Instagram that did not follow the museum.
Wow.
That's through the use of tags and tagging. So you're reaching other people that like cars, that are automotive enthusiasts. But just knowing the audience on Instagram, that is a younger audience. That's that next generation of Corvette fans. So creating that content that reaches those fans that aren't our followers, it brings them in to follow our channels, but it exposes them to the National Corvette Museum and hopefully gets them to think, hey, you know what? This is a place that I either need to visit or I want to get more involved with or maybe become a member of. So that really excites me. And then, you know, again, we have the power of Corvette. We have the history, 71 years of Corvette. So there is so much storytelling to do that, again, it gives us such a great runway ahead of us to be able to continue to grow those audiences and really acquire those new and younger generation of Corvette enthusiasts.
Fantastic. And the hashtag for the NCM is Corvette Museum. I use the hashtag for all of our social media for Corvette Today. Just go to hashtag Corvette Museum. You can see everything there as well.
That's a beautiful aggregator. You got it.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Also, let's talk about some of these examples that are already in place, Ryan.
Yeah. So again, social and digital. And then I would also say so much of the important work that we're doing that really ties back to the core mission of the museum around educating worldwide audiences of the evolution of the Corvette. Well, that education can begin here at the National Corvette Museum with our McMichael Education Gallery. You know, that was new, opened in April of 2023, has been so successful for us, not only for guests coming through the museum. It has something for all ages, whether you're a kid or not, but it does such an incredible job of really inspiring the next generation, not only of Corvette enthusiasts, but automotive enthusiasts, automotive designers. It could be the next generation of Bowling Green Assembly Plant staff.
Yeah.
Because there is so many things in there for younger generations to really kind of wrap their head around, whether it be designing what their vision of a new Corvette could be, to learning about 3D modeling and prototyping, all the way down to being able to feel and touch the different surfaces that would be in a new C8 Corvette, everything from a brake pedal to a leather interior seat. So when we look at acquiring that new and younger generation of Corvette enthusiasts, I looked at social and digital, but then I looked at what we're doing with our education team and specifically that McMichael Education Gallery. You can see it on the smiles of the kids' faces as they're walking out. You know that that's somebody that maybe had not thought about either a career in automotive design or technology, or even what the future of Corvette could look like. And maybe that's a flying Corvette. Some of the designs that we see are just absolutely out of this world. So it's elements like that that really excite us and give us more fuel to keep pushing that mission forward, but knowing how closely that mission ties with our Road to 2028 5-year plan.
That's cool. And it all aligns with the Corvette brand, which is awesome.
Absolutely. And we know we've seen specifically with C8, really Chevrolet and Corvette being very pointed in reaching out and trying to bring in new audiences to realize this is not only America's sports car, this is America's supercar. So when I see some of the work that they're doing with YouTube and Instagram influencers to have younger audiences take a look at the C8 a little differently, that's amazing and dovetails so nicely in what we're trying to do. So our work starts to complement what the Corvette brand is doing to reach new younger audiences. And then let's not forget too, you know, the museum itself, not only do we have this 5-year strategic plan, but we do have a variety of core values. And one of those values is advancing and strengthening the symbiotic relationship with General Motors. Not only the Bowling Green Assembly Plant across the street here here, but really that Corvette brand overall, as we look to see them kind of skew younger and younger as well, just to appeal to more people, right? It is an amazing car. Every generation is, but, really kind of waking up folks to understand that, the C8, that could be a daily driver for you if you're young and you want the look, you want the power, you want the performance. Well, if the car is the entry, then we need people to also to realize that the Corvette Museum and the 71 years of Corvette history that's here is your way to get more context on that car that you just made a purchase of. So it really does work hand in hand with Corvette and Chevrolet as well.
Absolutely. Now, this is a great plan, bringing new people in and infusing new blood into the Corvette brand. How do you balance that with the other audiences?
Another really, really fun place for us, again, could be daunting. We look at it as fun, and we really look at it every day as a challenge, because I've talked a lot about the acquisition of new and younger generation of Corvette enthusiasts, but I realize we have 71 years of history. The National Corvette Museum has 30 years of history. It is our members, past guests, and stakeholders that have got us to this point. So in no way are we trying to only look forward, right? We need to make sure that anything that we do, we land on an exhibit, a communications plan, a marketing plan that's really going to reach so many different audiences and demographics. I was talking to one of my key leadership team colleagues here, Mandy Thomas, who oversees business operations and human resources. And she reminded me that this is the first time in history that you will have 6 generations working under the same roof. That's national labor data, right? So you have 6 generations that could be working at the museum. Well, at the same time, I'm communicating to our staff here, and that's crossing 6 generations. The same goes for any potential guests coming through the door, right? We know it's that broad of an aperture. So that's why you'll see this continued focus on social and digital as we try to reach that younger generation. But at the same time, we're not walking away from some of those tried and true kind of storytelling vehicles that we have. And that's everything from making sure that our exhibits are always going to tell that incredible story on Corvette, but at the same time, making sure that things like America's Sports Car, our quarterly magazine that we produce for all of our members, making sure that that continues to stay fresh with content, telling different stories, because we know that that reaches a little different audience. So there's a little bit of this all sprinkled throughout, but it's a fun challenge for us. Never want to get to a place where we feel like we're alienating one group or another. We're always going to be communicating the same thing, staying mission centric. It's just that communication may look different for somebody who's been a member of the museum for 30 years versus somebody that is potentially getting interested in joining the Corvette community through a C4 or something like that.
That's really cool. That's amazing. 6 generations. Wow.
6 generations working under the same roof. Again, first time in really modern history, but at the same time, you need to look at that as your audiences as well. So we at any point could have people from 6 generations walking through the door as a guest. So making sure that we communicate and having everybody understand that we're all tied together for this passion and love for the car, and all are welcome. Whether you are a hardcore Corvette fan or somebody that is into the manufacturing process of cold rolled aluminum, we have something for everybody.
That's pretty darn incredible, buddy. Well, let's take our final break. And when we come back, Ryan, we'll talk a little bit more about the 5-year plan for the National Corvette Museum. I've got Ryan Eichler, the Director of Marketing for the NCM, here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey, honey, are you awake?
I am now.
I can't sleep. Since turning 50, I keep dreaming of a red door and a blue door, somehow knowing there are only choices for retirement.
Okay.
Through the red door, we outlive our money. We have to rely on our kids. We're stuck on a fixed income. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that would suck.
But through the blue door, our money outlives us. We retire on our terms. Our kids stay our kids, not our caretakers. We make work optional.
Yes, that's much better. That's what I want too. But what do we do?
We call True Wealth & Company at 913-653-8783. They specialize in helping successful people make work optional. They're our fiduciary Blue Door personal wealth managers.
Hey, where are you going? It's 3 a.m.
I can't sleep. I'm going to check out True Wealth & Company online at retirewithtrue.com. That Blue Door is going to be our retirement.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
VetFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25. And every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
Rev up your ride with the ultimate upgrade. The Radiator Grill Store is your go-to destination for top-notch C8 Corvette Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray accessories. Elevate your style with custom-painted engine bay covers, sleek front splitters, and side skirts that scream sophistication. Keep your C8 protected with premium Radiator Grill screens. Stand out from the crowd at car shows and beyond. Use code CT10 for an exclusive 10% discount off your total purchase at RadiatorGrillStore.com. Don't miss out on turning heads. Upgrade your Corvette today.
And now back to the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today, with your host, Steve Garrett.
Thanks once again for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. I know you want your Corvette looking its best. Dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty. So visit wheelcraft.com today or just give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is my buddy Ryan Eichler. Ryan is the Director of Marketing for the National Corvette Museum. We are talking about the 5-year plan looking forward for the museum. Buddy, you mentioned the AAM certification. That kind of fascinates me. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so AAM, again, the American Alliance of Museums. So the AAM is really a professional organization that represents museum and museum professionals in the U.S. It provides services and resources to support museums in their mission to educate, engage, and inspire the public. There's right around 33,000 museums in the United States.
Wow.
And only 3,000 of them are AAM accredited. And then when you start to boil it down even more, current accredited museums in Kentucky, it's 7. It includes the University of Kentucky Art Museum and the Speed Art Museum. And then when you boil it down even farther to AAM accredited car museums, it is the Henry Ford, the Auburn Court Duesenberg Museum, and the Studebaker National Museum.
Nice.
It is very rarefied air for an automotive museum to be accredited with the American Alliance of Museums, but it comes with so many benefits. Not only is it really a prestigious mark of excellence within the museum field, it really is a proof point that an accredited museum is committed to those highest professional standards, ethical practices, and ongoing improvement of its operations and services. Now, once you reach that accreditation, where it benefits the National Corvette Museum and ultimately all of our guests and our members is it helps our reputation. It helps secure funding, not only from donors, but also from grants, and then also helps build trust with communities and stakeholders. A simple example here, I was speaking with Robert Maxheimer, our Director of Curatorial Affairs, who I know was just recently on the show.
Yes.
Once you reach that AAM certification, let's say a situation where we're going to open up a new exhibit and we wanted to pull in a display or something from the Smithsonian. When you reach out to a fellow accredited museum, it's a lot easier to get from point A to point B because they understand if they're going to be loaning you an artifact, a car, a small artifact, they realize that you're following and adhering to those AAM principles. And that means that we're going to be protecting that item just like we protect our collection. So that's temperature controls, the proper security around it, whether it be in storage or on display. So it really does open up a whole new world of collaboration with other AAM accredited museums and really puts you on this high plateau that just commands more reputation and respect within the museum industry. And again, opens up the doors for so many more things.
I can see why that's so important. So how's progress coming on that accreditation?
Progress on accreditation is ongoing. One area that we continue to work hard on is understanding and documenting everything in our collection. You know, of course, 30 years of history here at the museum. So making sure that we're fully up to date and that basically every item that we have, every artifact that we have in the collection, we have an understanding of its relevance to Corvette history and all of the pieces that go along with it. So that ultimately will be the heaviest lift for us, is just making sure that we have an understanding understanding of all of the items in the collection. And then from there, for anybody that visits the museum, you'll see increased access points. So we have a new security system that basically tracks everyone that is moving through every single door.
Wow.
We all have transponders, and that's how you get into various elements of the museum. So it's really access control to make sure that people are in and around the cars in the collection who need to be. So a lot of those enhancements are in place. It is a work in progress as we work to get that accreditation.
Yeah, boy, that's a huge undertaking. I can see why that's so important.
Yeah, it goes all the way down to proving financial stability with facilities and risk management, further collection stewardship, leadership and organizational structure. They're even looking at that for accreditation. And again, which is why you see that only about 10% of U.S. museums have that accreditation, because it is quite a process. But again, one that is absolutely worth it. And I would think for myself, and I think for you and for all of us that are in this Corvette and National Corvette Museum world, it's all about the car and the stories of the car.
Yeah.
So by us going through this accreditation process, we're ultimately giving the most respect possible to the Corvette, the brand itself. So I think, everyone can kind of clearly see why there's a need to do this and the opportunities that it opens up for us.
Yeah, it really puts the collection front and center, and you can see that in the exhibits too.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a little bit of a flip of what you would expect. I think for your listeners that hadn't been through the museum in, say, the last 5 years and have been through this year, you almost see a less is more approach, being much more purposeful about the cars that are on display and giving them some room to breathe so the car becomes the star.
Nice.
And also rotating cars out. Any of the cars in our collection from time to time, you want to rotate them out from display, because even when it's out from display, we have light meters. We're checking the light. Certainly, some of the interiors of the Corvettes can be a little delicate. So that's a reason why you want to cycle it out of being on exhibit or display so you can protect it from those elements. Even if it's behind stanchions, there's still other atmospheric things that could potentially affect the condition of that car. So you want to always make sure that you're rotating it. Again, you may see different cars on a more regular basis being rotated out, because we don't want a Corvette to be sitting out on display for 2 years because of the potential effect that could have on the vehicle itself.
Yeah, and it's a good thing, because when you go to the museum, you want to see something different every time you enter the building, and that is exactly what you're talking about.
That's the other win. So the collection and the Corvettes are winning because we're rotating those out. But yes, absolutely, our guests, our members are winning because you're seeing something new and something fresh. Really, within our schedule that we really work hard to get to is about every 6 months to be rolling out something new from an exhibit perspective.
That makes sense. All right, buddy. So give me a little preview. What's coming up on the horizon for the National Corvette Museum?
Oh, very, very exciting. And this is something that I think is going to be thrilling for everybody. Last year we celebrated 70 years of Corvette with An American Love Affair was the name of the exhibit. We're continuing that, but with a little bit of a fun pop culture twist to it. So opening on October 18th is going to be Pop Culture and Corvette, An American Love Affair. We're going to lean even further into Corvette's connection to music, movies, celebrities, entertainment. This is going to include everything from some of those very famous astronaut Corvettes.
Nice.
All the way down to some of the Corvettes that were used in the Transformers. It'll take up primary residence in the Sky Dome with a complete new exhibit that, again, connects Corvettes and pop culture like you've never seen before. We really began this transition with our museum gateway. So when you first enter into the museum, right now you're greeted by this incredible collection of previous generation ZR1s. We felt like the cultural zeitgeist was so high around the reveal of this new ZR1 that it was a great way for us to jumpstart and bring in some of the other ZR1s that we have on loan and in the collection to really begin that story around pop culture in the gateway and then continue it almost really all the way through the museum, with the peak being in the Sky Dome. Of course, now we have the Sky Wall, that 9.5 foot tall, 300-foot video wall that surrounds the room.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, when you think of Prince singing about Little Red Corvette, you got to have that playing in the backdrop.
Absolutely.
We'll be pulling in some really, really fun clips of Corvettes throughout TV and movies throughout those 7 decades and featuring that behind some of the cars that become the stars.
Buddy, that's a great way to do it. The wall is fantastic. But just sitting here talking to you today, I'm excited about the 5-year plan. This is awesome.
Thank you, Steve, again for your time here, but all of your support for the National Corvette Museum and really everything around the Corvette community. It's important for us to keep looking forward to make sure that we give ourselves, again, that runway to have exhibits like a pop culture and Corvette exhibit that is well thought out, tells a great story. And to do that, it all needs to tie back to that road to 2028 and that 5-year strategic plan.
That's awesome. Buddy, thank you so much for taking the time to be back on Corvette Today. You come on anytime you want with some good news about the National Corvette Museum.
Love it. And we will. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today. And be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today show. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-639-4231. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Ciocca Corvette at CIOCCACorvette.com. E5 Wheels at E5Wheels.com. True Wealth and Company at RetireWithTrue.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at Aerolarri.com. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. If you'd like to contact Steve with ideas for Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Also, sign up for email notifications at corvettetoday.ck.page. Follow Steve and the show on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Threads at Steve Garrett DJ. Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today.